Better like this? Okay. I thought that keynotes at this conference had to start with a song. And something really weird happened an hour ago. So when I started thinking about the talk, I was thinking about, okay, what do I sing? And I found a song that almost matches the topic I wanted to talk about. I basically needed to exchange one word with one other word. Those of you who know the song will notice it very quickly. And about 2 hours ago, Arthur and I talked about this because I saw him play ukulele, and I actually don't remember how we started talking about it, but I think I just shared what I did and I shared the song, and he was like, oh my God. Because 3 months ago, he has written a similar parody on the same song. Independently, like we didn't know about this before today. And as he has played ukulele before, I just asked him to join me. So please join me, and we'll sing this for you now. And you will notice that we are both very, very professional musicians. So this is yes. Can you see like this? Okay, let's try. I just still need you. Yeah, okay.
And a part of the band, huh?
Yes, you are part of the band. We need you.
Percussion.
Just make sure you're not in the way of the, because otherwise I can't read the text. I can speak without a script for an hour, but I can't sing for a minute without text. Practice. This is a song for the workers. But bosses, listen closely. You don't always have to lead them hard. In fact, sometimes that's not right to do. Sometimes you got to spread some love and fucking give them some smoothies too. Sometimes you got to be squeezed. Sometimes you got to say please. Sometimes you got to say, hey, I'm gonna guide you softly. I'm gonna lead you gently. I'm gonna help you sweetly. I'm gonna shepherd you discreetly. Then you say, hi, I brought you health care. Then you say, wait a minute, Sally. Think I've got something in my inbox. Could you check it out for me? That's fucking teamwork. What's your favorite position? That's cool with me. It's not available, but we created for you. What's your favorite perk? I'm not gonna make it, but I order it from Zanzibar. And then I'm gonna love you completely. And then I'll fucking steer you discreetly. And then I'll fucking move you completely. But then I'm gonna lead you out. So I'm guessing almost everything you need to know about leadership you can get from this song, and everything you need to know about Agile is on this slide. So actually, that was my risk strategy. I know as the latest speaker in the conference, I'm the last thing between you and the party. So we could have had a 5-minute version of this, and you're absolutely welcome to cut me short. If you believe my promise is turning down, like if this gets boring, just let's end it early. We can sing the song again and then be done. The last slide has the text, so you can sing along with it. I assume some of you knew the song. One thing that I'm really passionate about is connecting. And a friend of mine in Berlin, who's actually the most appropriate like guru to quote at this conference because he's the only actual rock star I know. He used to play guitar for the Sisters of Mercy and Johnny Thunders, and he's played guitar for audiences of 60,000 people in a stadium. But now he's into personal and organizational development, like most of us are. And on top of that, he suffers from OCD. Not the OCD that we like to make fun of when Sheldon wants to sit in his own place on the sofa, but the real OCD where you got anxiety attacks randomly throughout the day. And over multiple years, he's studied lots of things to calm himself down, so that after all of that studies, he was frequently in the situation that his brain was freaking out, and he just couldn't choose if to meditate, if to do yoga, if to go running, or if to do one of these other 10 things that he had learned to do. And then he came up with a very simple and very striking good idea. What if my mind had a pause button? And I could just go pause and just feel. Just feel where I am. Feel what's going on inside me. Feel what's going on around me. And just be connected. Connected first to myself, then to my context, then to my purpose, and maybe then to other people. And the simple thing is, and this hit him later, I guess, after he started using this, and it helped his brain to calm down. We spend so much time moving, and so much of our energy and attention moving, that to simply remind everybody that it's a good idea to pause, and then before we start running again, to start playing with this amazing mind we have, start thinking. And then once we have established this is where I am, this is what I feel, this is what I want, and this is how I can do it, then start moving. Does that make sense? And it turns out that this pattern is a simple thing that connects almost every method that we use for improvement. I won't go into much explanation, but just as a very obvious link, the pause thing a team does, and we've just seen the Scrum process on the slide. When we retrospect and review what we've done and how we've done it, that's pause. And then we plan, play, and then we move forward for another iteration. And they're getting shorter and shorter, but we still pause before we do the next thing. One thing that is most important to connect to, apart from connecting to ourselves and looking into what's in here and what's going on right now, is to connect to our purpose. And we've heard about that multiple times today in the previous talks, but also in earlier talks. And I would like to do a quick exercise that's connecting you to your purpose, if that's okay. Could everybody check if you're sitting next to two people and have somebody in front or behind you, so that when you turn around a few times without running around the room, because that won't work with this setup, you can talk to at least 3 different people by just turning 90 degrees a few times. So if you're standing on a wall on your own, could you move so that you're joining somebody so that you can form a few groups of 2 in a few iterations? Before you get up, I'll explain how the process works. So I want you, in a moment, I want you to get up, turn around to the person next to you so that you're facing each other. And then I want you to decide who of you is going to be person A and person B. So get up, turn around, find a partner, and decide who is A and B, just very quickly. Stretching might help too. Okay. Now person A explains to person B for 30 seconds, why are you here? Go. Switch. Now person B explains to person A. 30 seconds. Why are you here? Now, thank your partner. And turn around so that you're facing another person. Maybe you need to turn out around 180 or 90 degrees. Maybe you need to walk a few steps. And decide who is person A and who is person B. No? Shh. Just decide who is A and B. Okay. And now, please briefly close your eyes and imagine that everything you've just explained to the other person had come true. Everything you're here for is fulfilled. All of your goals achieved, all of your missions completed, everything you wanted, you've got. And now, connect to your purpose. What is it you want next? Why are you here? Person A, explain to person B, why are you here? 30 seconds. "30 seconds for the other. Person B explains to person A, why are you here? Thank your partner. Thank your partner. And now turn around so that you're facing a third person. Maybe you need to move a little bit. Shh. And again decide who is A and B. And again, please close your eyes and connect to yourself and pause. Notice how when you pause, your breathing gets a little slower, your heartbeat gets a little slower. You're noticing how you stand on the floor. And now feel. Feel into your purpose. And again, imagine everything you've just explained were fulfilled. Every wish granted, every goal reached, every target achieved, everything completed. All dreams come true. And now, connect to your purpose. Why are you here? Open your eyes and person A explains to person B, why are you here? 30 seconds. Swap. Person B explains to person A, why are you here? Thank your partner. Find a way back to your chair. Sit back down. If we had more time, you could repeat that a few more times, but at some point, some people who have saved the world multiple times then get bored. Who liked that exercise? Awesome, thank you. I'm noticing that the slides I'm using are not the latest version, but we'll make do with this. So this connecting is interesting to you. I've become quite passionate about that because I think that connecting to ourselves, staying connected to ourselves, connecting to our purpose, connecting to each other, connecting together to our shared purpose, would avoid so many of the problems we have individually, health-wise, world-wise, politics-wise. So I absolutely invite you to do more of that. And what I like about this simple model is you can explain it to anybody. You don't need to be an IT person, you need to be a development person, you don't need to be an academic. Anybody who's seen either a tape recorder or a CD player or any device that can play music understands the metaphor of play, pause, and forward. Another thing that I've very recently discovered is when we think about things, we can look at these things from 4 different perspectives. And this is fairly important when we look at improvement, when we look at how we retrospect and improve in Agile contexts. And when we think about Agile as a whole, which is the main topic of my talk, which you might have guessed from the title, then we can look at things as they were. Oh, no, I'm making the wrong turn, similar to Jutta. We can look at things as they were. We traditionally have the past on the left, right? We can look at things as they are now, and we can look at things as how they might become. And that's the interesting bit. We can think about things as they ought to be. And I want to look at the current state of Agile from these perspectives, using the different Scrum values as a lens, because they suit my fairly emotional view on the topic quite well. So courage is the first Scrum value. And I want to invite you to briefly pause and feel into your courage. Where would you locate your courage in your body? You don't need to answer. I just want to guide you through some thinking, but you're welcome to. This is not a TV show, so you can absolutely. What does the courage feel like? Does it have a size or shape? We say that courage is feeling fear and moving forward. So it's fear and determination, fear and grit, fear and a purpose. And what would Agile look like? What would Agile feel like when we did that more often? Thinking about courage. I think what we very frequently see in the world right now, in many, many, many organizations, is that we have people who want something, but they find lots of ways the world is that let them know they can't have it. There could be a team wanting to be more agile, or a CEO wanting his company to go faster, or a Scrum Master wanting her team to be more happy, or her developers to be less resistant. What would courage look like? Or what does courage look like when we see it? I think the first thing that we need to understand that Agile is different and Agile is hard. And the first thing, if I want Agile, if I want anything like Agile, I'm just using this word because it's in the conference title and it's in the talk and it's a thing that we all understand, but it could be anything better. The first thing I need to look at is myself. How much pain am I willing to go through for the change that I want? That's the first important question. And instead of complaining about the others, what do I want to change? What am I willing to change? What courageous step am I willing to make and able to make? And usually that's a lot more than we think, as soon as we stop wasting our energy on blaming or whining or whatever else we might do. What does that look like in practice? We've heard so much about that all day. Do small steps. Measure your progress. Use the things that you've heard today. Don't let yourself be limited by what the past was or what the present is. Just think about what might become and think about what ought to be. And if you are in a place where you think what might become, you think what's possible is actually far, far, far away from what things ought to be, then find another place. We're wasting so much time changing companies, changing teams, trying to change people who don't want to. Let's work with those who do. And this is also an idea that we heard in the very first talk, right? Create those 3.5% early adopters, work with those. Given the population in this country and the number of people that I'm assuming work in our companies and our industries in this country, we are not yet 3.5%. We can find a lot more early adopters and make a bigger movement with them instead of wasting our time and energy on the people who are not yet ready for whatever we want. Does that make sense? Openness. Pause and feel openness. What does openness, what does your openness feel like? Does that openness have a space, a place, somewhere, a size or shape? Where is openness? For me, it's around me, it's not so much in me. There's also a feeling on my skin that's very raw and vulnerable when I think about it, when I reflect on it. And I'm noticing now that openness is very much related to fear. Because when I'm really open, I don't know what will happen. And that's when I'm going to need my courage. These things are connected. So when we're thinking about openness, let's play a little bit. How open are we with our invitations when we're working with the people we're trying to influence? How openly are we actually living our values? Just an example that comes to mind. The manifesto starts with the line, "We're doing it and helping others do it." How many Agile companies, Agile consultants like myself, or Agile consultancies do you know who actually live agility? Who are actually reflecting all the time, who are improving their products, who have business models that evolve instead of just selling hours and days of the same shit year after year. I've done both, so I'm not judging anybody. It's just, let's honestly reflect how openly are we actually doing what we say we do, or what we tell others to do? And what would real openness look like? If we want our teams to be open, if we want the organizations to be open, if we want management to be open to new possibilities, how open are we? There's so much talk about fixed and growth mindset, and there's so much talk about, I can't work with these people, they have the wrong mindset. As if I were in any position to judge what's going on between your ears. Right? I can't know that. I shouldn't condemn it. Sorry for taking you as an example. So if we talk about other people as if they were wrong, how open is that? And what would openness look like? If we suggest something to our teams, to the managers, to the organizations, to the people we coach, are we actually open for them to say no? Nope, not for me. Arturo had this wonderful slide of somebody running after a patient with a pill. You need to take the pill, you need to take the pill. Right? Patients don't like that. Other people don't either. Commitment. Pause and feel into your commitment. What does commitment feel like? Does commitment have a space in or around you? Where is commitment? Does that have a size or shape? When I feel into my commitment, I want to move. It feels like movement rather than something that's just inside me. It feels like, yeah, let's get going. How committed are we? And how committed do we need to be to affect the world the way we want it? I'm noticing when I look at the metaphor on the slide, before that kind of commitment, we get engagement, right? It's funny how these words sometimes fit together in a string. So we need engagement at work, and also I feel like my talk is summarizing a lot of things that I've heard today. Maybe that helps me make some of them stick a little more in all of our minds. So we need engagement and then commitment. Who of you has been in situations where a Scrum team made a commitment and it was no commitment at all? It was totally clear to everybody that this was a forced, contrived thing. Yeah. So true commitment needs engagement from both sides. And it's a mutual agreement where both sides commit to doing everything they can to make something happen and to make something last. And again, bring in the courage, bring in the openness, and check what you can do with commitment in your team, in your organization, with your management, with anybody you work with. Respect, aka love. I prefer love because respect is a more ambiguous term. Love is also an ambiguous term, but the romantic side is not as bad as the respect to authority that so many of us have been taught as kids in school, in society, in politics, wherever. Both actually mean unconditional positive regard. No matter what you do, no matter what you have done, you are worthy of my respect and my love as a human being. No matter how fucked up the organization is, No matter how fucked up our development process is, or no matter how fucked up our source code is, it's deserving my respect. It's deserving my unconditional positive regard. It's deserving my love so that I can actually help it. If I have contempt, if I'm distancing myself or like, oh, that's not good, and this could be source code, a team, an organization, or a person, I won't be able to connect. I can only connect when I'm in love, in that sense. This is not about romantic love. This is about actually willing to be so open, so connected, that we can really make a difference. So, feel into this. Whereabouts is your love? When you pause and feel into your unconditional positive regard, where do you find that in yourself? Let's do a small experiment. When you find it in yourself, place your hand, if you're willing to follow, and make it more intense. Think of somebody you love and make that feeling intense. Make it colorful. And then just very briefly think what becomes possible when you do that. What becomes possible when you are in love like that? What becomes possible in you and what becomes possible in your impact on others? Focus. Somebody reminded me recently of the Greek origins of the word priority. Maybe it's Latin and not Greek, I'm not so sure. I think prior means the first. The word prioritization has nothing to do with having a long list. Nama asked this beautiful question, like how long is your backlog? Any number above 1 is actually a bad answer. Priority means there's one thing we are focusing on. One thing. That's priority. And everything else is not priority because we're focusing on this. And that means maximum effectiveness in reaching that thing and making that thing reality because we are not distracted by anything else. That's hard for organizations. Does anybody of you know how football works, soccer? If you don't have a favorite football team, just imagine you had. If your favorite football team plays a game, and the goalkeeper does have no need to ever touch the ball, is that a good game or a bad game? It's not interesting. It's good, bad? Okay. For my team, that would be an amazing game because everything would be going on at the goal of the other team, and we would probably score a lot of them. The interesting question is, would we still pay that goalkeeper? Would we still want him or her to play the full 90 minutes with this team that doesn't really need her? Or would we rather have her go somewhere else to do something useful, to be busy? Most organizations would do that. If you sat at work for 90 minutes without doing something, somebody would come and ask you a serious question. Even as a coach, where you're supposed to do that, we're supposed to just observe and give feedback later. Or maybe stand on the line and cheer or cry or whatever. We as coaches feel when we sit 90 minutes and just observe, we feel we're not doing our job. Because we're so entrained of believing that we should be busy, we should be delivering something, we should be working. Focus is the opposite of that. Focus means we are actually committed, in love with one thing that we're working on. And we're doing everything we can to make that thing reality. I think this is a core part of agility, and we're losing that all over. I really liked how Angel used the save poster this morning to make multiple really good points. But that would be a good moment to pull up a save poster and tell you how that is the opposite of focus, because it's so distracting. Which is great for an organization that wants all of their goalkeepers to be busy all the time. If the goal of my organization were to have football where with maximum efficiency, I would give everybody a ball. Right? Then everybody would be busy all the time and everybody could play all the time. It wouldn't be much fun. There would be no focus anymore. Probably no effectiveness, but it would be very efficient. As a manager, I would be thinking, yeah, I'm doing a good job. And this was again me being condescending against managers. I do that very rarely. I don't think managers really do that. That's our agile bad fantasy. So, again, pause and feel into your focus. What is your focus like? What does it feel like? Where is it? Does your focus have a size or shape? Mine just comes up as a laser pointer that I can use to focus my attention with. Imagine play. What would be possible if you were fully focused? A little more. Let's say an hour per day. Fully focused for 1 hour every day. What would that make possible in your life, in your work, in your team? Imagine your whole team would be fully focused for 1 hour every day. My guess is many teams would earn all of their daily pay in an hour, and then they could actually go home. That's how distracting most workplaces are. Trust. Björn unfortunately didn't arrive here, as far as I have seen. His plane was cancelled last night, and apparently he didn't make it. But he told me that when you arrange the words respect, focus, commitment, help me, commitment and courage in the right way, then trust comes out as a connecting thing. So trust is kind of the meta value, and it's one of my favorite things as the trust artist. I've worked a lot with that and about it. So pause and feel into your trust. Where is your trust? And what's your trust like? With all of these exercises that we basically just dipped into, like what's my courage like, what's my trust like, what's my focus like. If you do that at home with a little more time and a little more attention, and you then ask yourself, okay, and when it is here and it has this size and it feels like that, then that is like what? And you find a metaphor for it. Again, I think it was Elena in her short talk who was also working with a metaphor as a means to make something very conscious and very explicit. When you know where your courage is and what it's like, you can find out what replenishes it when it's weak and how you know how strong it is. And then you can actually start playing with your courage or with your trust or with your focus. And you can understand better how your inner world functions. And that explicitity makes it more malleable to your intentions, which is a great thing to grow for any human being, but especially for coaches, scrum masters, anybody who wants to influence other people in a good way. Just a small practical takeaway from this. Trust. What becomes possible when you fully trust? From your role, from your perspective, looking at the people you work with, what if you fully trusted them? And if you think of, or maybe we have some managers in the room, if you think of the people who work for you, what if you fully trusted them? What would that make possible? And for those of us who work with managers, with bosses, what if we trusted them to be able to fully trust their team? I've spent most of my Agile coaching career not trusting the managers I worked with or I worked for to be able to trust me and to trust the people who worked for them. And that has been a very, very limiting factor for my effectiveness. I'm going to close with a few principles. One thing that I noticed is that the Agile principles are really great when you look at the 12 on the manifesto page. This is just a first draft. This is not like a manifesto or anything. It's just an inspiration for you to think about those people who are not on a software team, who might be coaches, who might be managers, who might be product owners, who might be whatever kind of leaders. I'm calling everybody a leader who takes responsibility in any way. So in my dream organization, everybody is a leader. It's an attitude, it's an activity, it's not a position. So taking responsibility, one addition that I made to the slide that's not here is asking for help. So that's not only you taking responsibility, but that you're actually inviting others to take responsibility too. Pause, which we've been doing several times in this talk, and reflect. Installing reflection, retrospectives, improvement as a regular habit in organization outside of teams, to me, is the key to organizational agility. If we only have the workers reflect and improve, and the leaders do not do that, at some point the whole thing breaks. Be curious. Lead yourself first, oxygen mask principle. And beyond asking for help, invite everybody to lead. Invite everybody to take responsibility. Some people call that delegation, but this is a little more open definition. Simon Sinek said, leaders are those who go first into unknown and danger. Courage comes back to mind. And an interesting reflection for you, where in your work is it that you are going first into unknown and danger? What things are you doing that might be totally obvious and natural to you, but that are actually scaring the shit out of your coworkers because they would never dare to do that. And this is beyond wearing funny hats. Improve clarity, transparency, set and mind boundaries. I could continue this list. I just want to leave you with some inspiration for maybe the evening, but mainly also the open space tomorrow. Time is up. Do we want to sing the song again together? No, that was helping, absolutely. You're creating an illusion of rhythm that we were not good at keeping. Okay. I'm not sure. Can you hear the guitar in the back?
It's okay.
Okay, thank you. So, this is a song for the workers. But bosses, listen closely. You don't always have to lead them hard. In fact, sometimes that's not right to do. Sometimes you got to spread some love and fucking give them some smoothies too. Sometimes you got to squeeze. Sometimes you got to say please. Sometimes you got to say, hey, I'm gonna guide you softly. I'm gonna lead you gently. I'm gonna help you sweetly. I'm gonna shepherd you discreetly. And then you say, hey, I brought you health care. And then you say, wait a minute, Sally. I think I've got something in my inbox. You check it out for me. That's fucking teamwork. What's your favorite position? That's cool with me. It's not available, but we created for you. What's your favorite perk? Pick it, but I'll order it from Zanzibar. And then I'm gonna love you completely. And I'm gonna feel you completely. And then I fucking move you completely. But then I'm gonna lead you hard, hard.
Good job, man.
And as I said, everything you need to know about Agile is on this slide. Thank you very much.